Is a giant investment firm secretly controlling the world? Blackrock is one of the largest passive investment funds in the world and has been for years. Nearly $10 trillion in assets, massive concentration of economic power, big-name clients, even bigger names among the assets. But is there more to them than meets the eye? Welcome back to Critical Theories. Time to head back down the rabbit hole. Technically speaking, BlackRock and the rest of the big three investment managers do not own anything. Their clients own the shares. However, these clients do not vote or influence decision-making. By divesting their voting responsibility to the managing companies, the voting power of these thousands of shareholders is consolidated into these three hands. So even though they don't own the shares specifically, they do possess a fair amount of authority on behalf of the real owners. There are some who believe this makes them more far powerful than they should be. Furthermore, they claim that this authority has been used to manipulate the markets, manipulate lobbyists, and even manipulate the population at large. Are these claims correct? First, we need to examine where BlackRock comes from in the first place. Passive investment managers are a relatively new concept, cropping up from the 1970s with the development of Vanguard. Over the next 2 decades, passive investment funds became the preferred method of investing in the stock market. While initially mocked and avoided because they were un-American, the method of diversifying portfolios won people over with its repeated success. The big three realized that by diversifying portfolios and investing in consistent, steady companies, rather than chasing sudden innovations and flash-in-the-pan successes, they created a more reliable and stable investment strategy. Standard investment firms at the time were spending tons of money on research and management, which they passed on to their clients through management fees. Their style of investing was also extremely risky, more like gambling than what we consider investing today. Spreading out the investments and putting the bulk of their money into stocks that performed consistently meant that the portfolio as a whole would see consistent growth. This also meant that if one of the elements of the portfolio had a bad quarter, the rest of the index would keep things steady. It was a self-balancing system, with moderate but consistent growth. By the 1990s, passive investment managers like BlackRock had outperformed even the most savvy investment managers, cementing their place among the stockbroker elite. By the 2010s, the big three were the largest investment managers in the world, managing approximately 20% of the market. Their investors include some of the richest and most powerful entities on Earth, including central banks, sovereign wealth funds, multilateral entities, public pension schemes, and government ministries and agencies. These investors are part owners of giant companies and corporations such as Microsoft, Alphabet, Apple, IBM, and Facebook. And this is where people start to get concerned. Remember how earlier we mentioned that BlackRock and their peers vote on behalf of their investors? Well, Vanguard and State Street do as well. These investment managing companies, the ones we've been calling the Big Three, have between them majority stakes and majority voting power in some of the largest tech companies on the planet. The companies they invest in are diverse, but there are some interesting bedfellows. Technology companies like Alphabet, which owns Google, would give the Big Three access to how people interact with the internet. Their stakes in AT&T would give them access to how people interact with news media, entertainment, and even each other. As a communication company, AT&T would give BlackRock access to multiple facets of people's lives. Down the list it goes with these major companies largely being under one roof or at least a series of interconnected roofs, as it were. Communication, news, power, banking, technology. All of these things being voted on and potentially steered by the Big Three. BlackRock is considered the most prominent, as they control a larger portion of the stocks than their peers. BlackRock controls nearly $10 trillion. Vanguard manages over $7 trillion, and the State Street comes in at just over $2 trillion in assets. These are massively different scales, but compared to the other investment managers on the list, even the smallest of the three dwarfs the competition. With that much voting power and that much collective capital, it seems almost foolish to assume that these investment firms would not communicate and coordinate. So is there any evidence to back up this speculation? Well, sort of. In 2014, there was a lawsuit that claimed nearly all the major investment firms, not just Blackrock and the rest of the big three, were doing just that. The suit would never make it to trial, however, as each firm would choose to settle privately out of court. One of the stipulators of the settlement was that none of the accused parties would have to admit any wrongdoing. Now, there is definitely an argument to be made that it would be easier, faster, and cheaper to settle, even if they were not guilty of price fixing or other collusion. Still, it looks kind of suspicious when you look at the situation as a whole. The lawsuit may not be definitive proof that they are pulling the strings behind the scenes, but it certainly raises some questions. What would majority stock in these companies mean for those in control? In December 2022, the Florida Treasury divested their funds from Blackrock. From the public statement on the matter, it seems the government of Florida was also suspicious of Blackrock's intentions. Jimmy Patronis, Florida's chief financial officer at the time, told Reuters Florida's Treasury Division is divesting from Blackrock because they have openly stated they've got other goals in producing the returns. According to some market experts, he was referring to the company's commitment to environmental, social, and governance principles, a collection of socially responsible investing values widely known by their acronym ESG. Looking closer at his words and actions, however, has led some to believe he saw something devious going on under the surface with Blackrock. In an interview with Newsweek, he said, "Using our cash to fund Blackrock's social engineering project isn't something Florida ever signed up for." Social engineering project? What would lead a prominent member of the government to believe such a thing was happening in an investment firm? Blackrock did not provide any immediate clarity to what he might be referring to. In response, a representative for Blackrock said, "As a fiduciary, everything we do is with the sole goal of driving returns for our clients. We are surprised by the Florida CFO's decision given the strong returns Blackrock has delivered to Florida taxpayers over the last 5 years. Neither the CFO nor his staff have raised any performance concerns." No performance concerns had been raised. While once again, this is not direct evidence of anything sinister. The statement focuses on performance concerns, where Patronis had claimed that the reason for the divestment was based on a mysterious social engineering project. Blackrock's public statement neatly skirts around the statement made by the state of Florida and focuses on the money. Are you a fan of close-up magic or card tricks? Sleight of hand is all about trickery. They want you to watch one hand so you don't see what the other hand's doing. Magic is all about the diversion. In this situation, if what we are witnessing is an act of diversion, they have highlighted the money. Blackrock wants us to focus on the money. So what is the other hand doing? At first glance, it would appear that they are doing nothing really. Since 2020, there has been a major push for corporations and big businesses to invest in the greater good. For many, this includes climate and pollution reform, renewable energy research and implementation, and bringing light to the plights of minorities. Where the state of Florida seems to take issue with this movement is in the support of the LGBT+ community. Ron DeSantis and his team are well known for their opposition to woke brands. He single-handedly revoked several of Disney's tax benefits because they opposed his "Don't Say Gay" measures. DeSantis and Florida's Treasury Department are not the only ones to believe this social awareness movement may come with more sinister motives. The push to vaccinate against the pandemic was met with claims that the vaccine had mind-controlling microchips in it, or that it would sterilize those who took it. Theories surrounding George Soros began to crop up, as well as theories that the New World Order or the Illuminati were controlling Blackrock. These claims proved to be widely unfounded. It appears that Blackrock may just be the biggest group to make the jump to supporting these causes. Some may consider this woke branding, but ultimately, following pop culture and social trends has positive effects on the bottom line. Which, considering this is an investment firm, money is the name of the game. So maybe this social engineering project was the act of sleight of hand all along. Maybe, in a brilliant double bluff, they wanted us to follow the social media thread, and we should have been following the money in the first place. Where does the money lead? Right back to the lawsuit from 2014. Blackrock and their peers have been accused of working behind the scenes together. They have been suspected of shortchanging sales, rigging market prices, and maximizing their profits at the expense of their clients. This may seem like a matter of the rich robbing the rich, as the majority of their clients are rather well off. However, many of their clients are also governmental entities. The effect of shortchanging entire governments can have devastating effects on the economy. Over the last 20 years, experts have claimed that the Big Three controlling so much of the market has had a negative impact on economies, from local to global, and has impacted the livelihoods and wallets of people from all walks of life. In their efforts to maximize their profits, they are shortchanging everyone else. Unlike lobby groups, they are not using their money to push everyone else around and impact policy. They are operating within their means to keep money in their hands for as long as possible, while still enticing clients with just enough profit to keep investing. It seems from the outside as though these investment managers, with Blackrock in the lead, are abusing the system for their own gain and paying off anyone who brings a charge against them. At its core, it's the kind of scam you would see in a mobster movie, white-collar crime at its highest level. So is Blackrock secretly controlling the world? Kind of. They may not be a part of some evil cabal of Satan worshippers, but they are a part of a group that is determined to steal as much from you as they can. Not all plots are cryptids, witches, and aliens. Some of the worst conspiracies are the most straightforward. Blackrock is robbing everyone blind and running entire economies just to pad their own pockets. This has been Critical Theories. Thanks for watching.